Greetings and welcome to another electronic lesson for the module of um, legal translation, fourth year, presented to you by me. The previous lesson, when we were in a class on campus, that is the on campus class, we talked about divorce papers, and we said that divorce itself is an extremely detailed topic, and it requires a lot of time and dedication to understand the concepts, to understand cases of divorce, and so on. I've also mentioned in the classroom that I cannot um, provide students with divorce papers, of actual divorce papers, because they contain sensitive information, and I'm pretty sure no one who has um, undergone a divorce case would voluntarily provide me with their divorce cases or divorce papers. So I would stick with an English divorce paper. It's already translated. So with this, what you'll do, you'll only provide the Kurdish translation or the Arabic translation for these three documents, and I will ask you to only translate this document right here, which is the authorization of irrevocable divorce in return for non-liability after consummation of marriage. As I said, I will only give you this one. However, other documents are also of importance, but for you to translate, it's this document you need to translate. It might be asked, as it was raised by some students, whether or not on the test you will have questions about legal matters, i.e., am I going to put on the test questions like, tell me what are the cases in which, or what are the types of divorce, or what happens in case a husband lies about or a wife lies about their marital status, what happens to the whole state of marriage in this case, what happens to the contract of marriage in this case. These questions you will not have on the test. However, the reason why we discuss these concepts in the class is, um, how would you go about translating a document whose concepts you don't even know? You don't even understand the implications for any of the contents of the documents. How would you go about translating something which you don't even know what it means? For whom you don't even know any sort of, sorry, for which you don't even know any sort of understanding. You don't know any basic definitions and explanations. So you need to know. You have to have some sort of legal understanding. You have to have some sort of legal. Um, you have to have some sort of legal background in terms of these concepts that are mentioned in these documents. But again, because suppose some of you want to become legal translators in the future, and one thing, as I think a condition in meeting or a prerequisite to obtain the authorization of a legal translator is to do a test in which they ask you these questions, in which they ask you questions about things that are related to anything that we've tackled or we've studied in the classroom. So you have to know these things. You have to know things like, what is consummation of marriage? What is non liability? What is irrevocable divorce? What is things like revocable divorce? What is legally prescribed period? And so on. What is a divorce of minor? What is divorce of major? Um, so it's these sorts of things that you have to understand before before you do the translation correctly. Anyway, so let's carry on. Well, let's carry on. I apologize. I'm in the class right now, and a student just knocked on the door and disrupted the electronic class. Let's move on. As I said, we have these three documents: certificate of irrevocable divorce in this case, before consummation of marriage, which is, as I said, you marry a person, but you do not consummate the marriage. In case divorce happens in this instance, the marriage or the contract is annulled, is cancelled immediately. It's not saying it three times. It's not repudiations. If a husband says it only one time, the whole marriage is cancelled. Okay? And then we have certificate of, there's another one. Yes, certificate of conditional divorce. We talked about conditional divorce. And we said it's in the conditional divorce that a husband divorces their wives, not wives, sorry, only one wife. Well, mind you, could be the person, could be that the person has more than one wife. But here, I was mistaken. I should have said, the husband divorces his wife upon doing the condition which the husband put forward with his wife. Okay? So, in this case, if you see this part right here, it says, if, name of the woman present pays me the sum of, which is the amount of money, within the period of, let's say, a month or 2 months. This is the example. And categorically and totally absolves me from whatever, I think it's, in this case, the marital contract, every claim, petition, and lawsuit, she will be divorced from me by one irrevocable statement of divorce, after which she will be free to remarry. So as you can see, this divorce case, this conditional divorce case, is the husband is intending to divorce his wife irrevocably. That is, no longer being his wife, giving the right to the wife to remarry, to get married to another person, to remarry someone else. And the wife has accepted, that is, she has to pay him, the husband in this case, an amount of money within a specified period, specified by the husband in this case. And if she does not keep the promise, if she does not do, or if she does not provide the sum of money within the period that was specified or clarified by the husband, in this case, the wife is divorced. That was one of the things which I discussed in the class, and this is a document, but I don't really think this will be of any importance to you because, frankly speaking, although this is extremely grave, but it happens in our society, and the Iraqi law, Iraqi civil status law pertaining to things like marriage and divorce, does state that conditional divorce is a case of divorce, and in case something like this happens, the marital status or the marital contract is absolved, is cancelled. But unfortunately, these sorts of cases, conditional divorce cases, are not reported to the court, and hence it's very rarely you would ever come across a conditional divorce paper. Very rarely. It would be, if not impossible, because as I said, there is no, unfortunately, documentation of conditional divorce. Maybe in southern states, sovereign governorates of Iraq, you will find this document, but here in Kurdistan region, I am extremely doubtful you would ever find any of those documents. But it's important to know. It's important to know that there is a document like this. I think this document also talks about the legally prescribed waiting period. Is it here? No, it's not. Okay, let's carry on. I think it's somewhere else. It's in another document. So this is certificate of irrevocable divorce before consummation. Okay, I think in this document there is the mentioning of um, legally prescribed waiting period. If you notice, the word matrimony here is another word for marriage. Matrimony, marriage are the same thing, I think. Um, I'm pretty sure they are the same thing. Here it says that she has no legally prescribed waiting period before remarrying, and that she may marry whichever suitable Muslim she pleases as of the date stated below, as long as it is not impeded by Islamic or civil law, and it has been decided to inform her of this. Okay? It has been decided to inform her of this. The reason why there is no legally prescribed period, remember in the class we said it's 3 menstrual cycles. The reason being is that this is before consummation. This is one of the things I did not discuss in the class. If the divorce is before consummation, the thing that happens here, it's immediate cancellation of, or the annulment of the marriage contract. That's one of the things. Two, there is no legally prescribed period, waiting period. The wife can, at any time after the divorce or the occurrence of the divorce, the wife can, sorry, the girl in this case, can go about marrying anybody else whom she desires. However, having said this, it also implies that once the contract is canceled or the divorce occurs before consummation, this person who has divorced this girl before the consummation of marriage can remarry this girl again with a new contract. Unlike the divorce after consummation, which is irrevocable, again, if it's 3 repudiations, 3 times mentioning the word of repudiations, or sorry, repudiation. What happens is that in the other case, which I have, I think I have seen, I think it's in this paper. Yes, here it says legally prescribed waiting period. She must commence. She must start the legally prescribed waiting period before remarrying as of this date. So she has to go through the legally prescribed period, and then she has to marry someone else out of her own accord, out of her own approval, and then be divorced out of her own approval, or for whatever reason that does not include previous agreement. So if in this case divorce happens, then she has the right to marry this person again. So the document that I want you to translate is this document right here. It's only this document. This is the authorization of irrevocable divorce in return for non-liability after consummation of marriage. Return for non-liability means, when I said in the class that the husband, upon divorcing his wife, requires to provide alimony and child support if there are children, if there is if there is in return for non-liability, in this case the husband does not pay or does not provide any alimonies, or does not provide alimony for the woman. However, they do provide child support. I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they provide child support, because at the end of the day, it's someone's it's someone's children. It's this person's children. So, as you can see, this document says, "And the legal counsel convened in my presence." Okay, I, the religious judge of. You can say religious judge, but in Kurdistan region we have the civil status judge. Okay, civil status judge. So when you translate this, instead of religious judge, which is also correct, I'm not saying it's wrong. If you want to translate it as the religious judge, that's also correct. But I want you to translate it as the civil status judge. You received the legally capable and identified by the legal capable, and after they confirmed the state of legal matrimony existing between them and legal consummation of marriage. So they were married, and they this divorce has happened after the consummation of marriage, and they are both of sound mind, fully aware and acting of their own volition or accord. The aforementioned Mrs. resolved, stating, okay, so this is a mutual divorce. This is a woman asking for divorce, but again, it's irrevocable divorce because the husband has to say the repudiations at the presence or at the at the presence of or in the presence of a judge. He has to say the repudiations, and then after the repudiations, the woman is divorced. As I said in the class as well, if a woman asks for divorce, if she asks for a mutual divorce, the husband will divorce her. However, the husband does not pay any alimonies. The husband does not pay alimonies. So then the husband says the repudiations. The husband says, as it says here, I absolve my that's the wife. I absolve my husband who is here in presence with me, who is here present with me, of responsibility for taking care of me and being a husband and so on, in return for his divorcing me so that I may remarry. And then I immediately upon her absolving him, he addressed her, stating, and this is the turn of the husband. The husband says, in this case, as it says here, you are accordingly divorced from me. So the husband, as I says, pronounces his repudiations. Once this happens, this is the final divorce. Why is it the final divorce? Because, as I said, this is the woman asking for it, and it is in Arabic what is known by people and people who are interested people who are specialized in law. This is called khul'. And this is the woman asking for it. This is mutual divorce. So if it's only one time, if it's the woman asking for it, if the husband says the repudiation, that's the end of divorce. That's the end of the marriage. That's the end of the marriage contract. These sorts of information pertain to things like legally prescribed period, and if there is any kind of things like wait a second, I think it's, let me just see here. Yes, is the legally prescribed period, and how long the woman has to wait until she marries someone else. There is only one thing that I'd like you to just bear in mind, or just be familiar with, since I didn't say this in the class. There is a divorce of minor and there is a divorce of major. In the class I said if it's one time, two times, it's a divorce of minor, and if it's three times, it's a divorce of major. A divorce of major, as I said, it's the end of marriage. A divorce of minor, the woman has the right to return to the husband within the legally prescribed period, and that is religiously specified, which is, I think, I'm sure, 3 menstrual cycles. Apart from that, I'm pretty sure that's, yeah. And if it's 2 times, as I said, they can return. But if it's 3 times, it's divorce of major. If you felt confused while I was saying this electronic lesson, I was explaining these topics, I do apologize, because as I said, legal translation or topics of divorce tend to be ramified, tend to be complex and complicated. So do not worry about that. I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with the basic concepts of marriage and divorce cases. What you need to do right now is to go back home. Oh, you are at home right now, silly me. Just make sure you translate this document only, which is a mutual divorce woman asking for divorce, which for which the husband provides the repudiations, which consequently results in an irrevocable divorce in return for non-liability after the consummation of marriage. I appreciate your attention. If you've watched this video, these 20 minutes of me rambling and talking here and there, um, so I do apologize for making the topic even more complex if it was not already complex to you. But don't worry about it. As I said, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the concepts related to divorce and marriage. The only thing you need to do right now is to translate this document and send it to me. In case I um, put any questions related to divorce on test, it'll be this one. Okay, so there's nothing else. Um, as I said, we have three types of divorces. The only one that I ask you to be familiar with and translate is this document. That being said, thank you very much for paying attention, and have a very good day.